Hi, Susan Clare here, GourmetQuilter, because quilting is delicious and very delicious, I must say. So today I thought I'd show you how to make a fun little block. You can make it pretty much any size you like, and it's this little block that's up behind me here. I've got two sizes here and two slightly different versions. This is the same as this one, I've just twisted the block around, and this one is the same as that, and again I've turned it that way. So you can make all sorts of different configurations with these blocks. Any of these blocks that have half of a darker colour or a stronger colour or a different colour, you can do an awful lot with them with that half and half sort of thing going on. But what I wanted to show you was how to make a block. So we make two at a time. The one I've got up here has got a half square triangle unit in there, and then two triangles there and a larger triangle there. This one here simply has a square in there, but still the two half triangles there and the larger one there. This is a 4.5 inch block, so it will measure 4 inch when sewn in. This is a 6.5, and so it will measure 6 inches when it's sewn in. So I'm going to show you how to do the 6 inch version this time, but as I said, you can make it pretty much any size you like. You just need to alter, obviously, the size of your patches. So what we're starting with is the half square triangle units. I'm going to show you how to make the block with those. It could be a plain square, it could be a 4 patch, it could be anything you like. Because I want to make a 6.5 inch block, this is a 3.5 inch half square triangle unit. So if you imagine it as a 4 patch block, you need 2 of those, and you need 2 other patches to make up your 4, but they're not square. We've got to add an inch in one direction. So it's 3.5 inches this way, which is the same as your unit, but it's 4.5 inches that way. So we need to have 2 of those and 2 of those to make a block, plus we need one larger piece of your sort of main colour that you're using. And that again is, because it's a 6.5 inch block, we've added 1 inch in one direction. So this is a 6.5 by 7.5 piece. Getting the hang of it now. So we need to join these together. So we're going to have it so that it's like that, and we're going to join this piece on here. So this is the same as my colour here. So that one is the one that's on the inside of the piece, and we need to do 2 of those so that we can then go on to the next step. And I've already gone ahead and I've done some of these steps already. So I've joined together 2 here with a different colour. And so I've got those 2 ready now to do something else with. So what we need to do is turn one of them around so that these triangles are facing towards each other, and then we're going to join those 2 together down the middle. And so again, I've gone ahead and done all that. So we have one of those here, and we're going to have some fun coloured blocks going on. So that one's all joined up, ready to go, and that one is now measuring 6.5 inches high by 7.5 inches long. And oh, yes, the same measurement as this piece. Amazing. On this piece, we need to draw a couple of lines because it will help us with where to sew. I have actually drawn them already, but I will just show you how I've done that. So we want the diagonal lines because we're going to be sewing through, because we're making 2 blocks, remember? So we want to have the diagonal line that comes from this point through and then from this point through, so that we know where to stitch. And the easiest way I found to do that is I find that these markings on our board can be really helpful at times, and this is one of those times. So I'm going to come here where this diagonal line comes through at an intersection of a square there. And I'm going to position my piece of fabric so that the corner sits there. Now you do need it up the right way. So if your block is looking like this, with the taller bit there, you want to be coming this way, but in the same direction, if you can, as those seams. Because if you draw it the other way, you're just going to be intersecting your patches, which really probably wouldn't help. It would be different. Different's not always what we're looking for. So I've lined this up on this corner of my board, on this marking of my board, with this diagonal line that comes through, because it extends out the other side as well on the board. And so I can just now draw that line right through, coming through there. And that's fine, that's for this first seam line that we want. And then going up here, we want to go up 1 inch, so the board very handily has the 1 inch markings. But on the diagonal, that works out much nearer to 3/4 of an inch. So without having to turn anything around, I can just slide my ruler up so that it intersects here, and it would go through the next line if there was one there. But also I can look at my ruler here, and I can line up on that diagonal line that we used to draw the first line at 3/4 of an inch away from the line that we've just drawn, and then draw that second line, and that will come right through that other point of that rectangle. So hopefully you can see that. I've got that line there, and if you measured between the two, it would be around about 3/4 of an inch, but in actual fact it's 1 inch along the edge of the piece there. Then we want to lay that onto our pieced block, and you can just do a little double check if you want to. If you fold that back and pop your finger on the line about where you think that triangle meets in, and see that that's actually sitting really nicely when we've sewn that, that's going to work really well. So I've gone ahead and done the sewing already, because this is just straightforward sewing. The sewing is not the hard part here, it's everything else. None of it's hard, it's fun. You could make loads of these blocks. So what I'm going to do now is trim between the two, and normally we just like to leave about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So rather than having to turn the block all the time, if you've got a 1/2 inch line on your ruler, and most rulers will allow you to measure 1/2 an inch in, if you place that on this line here, so that it comes across 1/2 an inch, it should be sitting 1/4 of an inch away from this other sewn line, so that you can trim that one away. And then you can just slide the ruler across so that the 1/4 inch line is now sitting on your stitching line, which should leave you another 1/4 inch in between. Trim that one away. We don't need that 1/4 inch piece, very little wastage. And when we fold that back, what we find is that we've got these two wonderful blocks. I'll just give them a quick press. And those points are looking great. Just press that over. And we now have two 6.5 inch blocks. And so you could be having all sorts of colours going on, all sorts of things going on. So they can be set on point, they can be set like this, they can be set like this, they can do all sorts of dances around the place. So I just thought that was kind of fun. So just remember, you need to add 1 inch. If it was going to be a 4 patch, you're adding 1 inch to your 2 patches in one direction and your other piece there. So, and you add 1 inch for your back square, so it's then a rectangle, and you can make 2 blocks at a time, and you could have all sorts of fun with that, doing all sorts of colours. How delicious would that be? So thank you. I will see you again with another idea another day.